Did you know that I lived in Minnesota?
So my DJ is I mean, I'm a fan too, but he's the type to like when I'm listening to music, when I'm on we fly everywhere all the time, always, suffer. I don't know, hungover or something. I'm always listening to like easy listening music, something chill, relaxing. He's listening to long YouTube videos explaining someone's whole life, and I think he did yours at one point. And we're both from Minnesota, so we kind of got bonded over that. But then I tried to like earlier today look it up, and I couldn't find anything about it. So I just.
What do you mean?
Well, I guess I just went on Wikipedia and it said San Diego, and that was about it. But
yeah, people leave out the 8 years I lived in Minnesota, but I'm from Edina.
Edina?
Yeah.
What years?
1972 to 1982.
So I'm guessing you're like a tiny child at that time.
Well, I mean, a normal child.
Well, no, sorry.
A 4-foot child.
I meant you were very.
I mean, I don't
sorry,
even know
you were
what
very
that
young.
means.
You were very young.
I mean, that was another slam, but I mean, I'll
unintentional.
It's not really. But anyway, yeah.
I was trying to compliment your age.
I was a tiny child.
I was trying to compliment your age and say you were very young.
I was young.
Time.
I was a young guy. Yeah, I was probably. Well, I was born in '71, so when I was 1 year old, we moved to Minnesota.
So do you remember anything about it?
Oh yeah, a lot. I remember it being cold.
Mm-hmm.
I remember back then there were not a lot of Asians at all.
There's Asians there, but not.
But in the 70s, no.
Not as many as California. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. It was weird. I remember. Now, there's a famous story about me being molested by a guy with Down syndrome.
Oh, that was there.
That was there.
So excited.
Why did you?
Oh my God, that was there.
That's just.
Yeah.
Well, I think we I don't know. That's concerning.
It's not like you know what I mean. Like,
I
are you
feel
going
guilty.
to the spot like it's the Alamo? Like, let's take photos.
Let's take a tour.
Let's take photos in front of this thing or whatever. You know what I mean?
No, I feel guilty that I feel like I'm a part of it now.
No, but and I go in and out if that happened or not. Now I believe it happened.
So you think your brain's blocking it out?
Well, like a couple of months ago, I said on this podcast that I made it up, which I thought I did. But then now I'm thinking, when I lay down in bed, I think, I see the hand.
So all the
You know what I mean?
so all the years before you ever did a podcast or comedy or anything,
Yeah.
were you thinking about it in that era? Because I feel like that would be.
Well, I think when my brother was like, really? Because one time he heard me say it out loud on a podcast, and he goes, really? Because I remember that guy, and I thought he just, pulled out a magazine, and we just watched magazines, like porn magazines, and he had candy, but I'm like, I think that he, touched me, but I don't know for sure.
But did he have Down syndrome?
For sure.
So every time that your brain, every time that you think of a memory, whatever you think about that memory when you bring it back to the front of your brain or whatever you think that time gets saved. It's not like you have the original memory. It like kind of rewrites itself.
Oh.
Yes.
It like rewrites itself every time you think about something. So people like this occurs where people will be associating something negative, or they'll be in a bad mood when they think of something, and then they'll start adding things to it or changing it. And then if like you can literally start picturing real things that like you think happened that didn't happen because your brain is remembering it differently.
Wow. Yeah, I always equated it to like my brain is like a writer's room. Yeah, maybe you have one writer. I have 50 writers in my room, and they just rewrite things. Yeah. You know what I mean? But that does ring true. So that being said, then I'm going to go with it probably didn't happen.
Well, I would think maybe you had a little something, because I know that I've had experience where something happened, and then I'll like think about it over time and like add more to it or change the story in my mind, and you'll literally picture it that way. Like I'll physically see that happening.
Wow.
And then maybe something did happen, but it wasn't as significant as you thought.
So
it's interesting.
I do EMDR therapy, where you've done it.
Yeah.
Where it's basically
What's it stand
like
for?
you get like bilateral stimulation so that you access like both sides of your brain so that you can kind of tap into a memory much clearer. And you're right, like a lot of the things that I remember as a child, I sort of misremember and like kind of frame differently as an adult, either because I needed to cope with it in this way, but like if I'm going to like the core of it, it's very different. Like the memory is different, or what happened was truly different. I just explain it differently as an adult to myself and to other people.
Yeah. And also it's like, I've been doing radio since the 90s. I mean, I've done thousands and thousands and thousands of hours, and you have you just make shit up, or you know what I mean, or like like if you told a story to a friend or in a social situation as is, it's not. No one would give a fuck. Do you agree or no? Like if you told a story just the way it happened, right? Or do you think that human beings embellish it so that people can go, oh, that's a great story?
People embellish it for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I don't know if I in some cases I'd say I do. I have some really weird. I'm sure we all do, but I've had some really particularly weird long stories.
Yeah.
I told it on their podcast. Not for here. It's just I've said it too many times. But like, I have a lot of stories that just sound ridiculous and they're all factual, and then
Right.
then there are some where they're boring enough where it's like, oh, I can't really say all this without adding a little sauce to it.
Yeah.
Sauce.
Sauce. Is your dad tall?
So my dad was 6'6". I mean,
just say yes,
wow,
man.
I'm dumb. 6 foot.
Just
6
fuck- oh.
6 foot. 6 foot.
Still
Yeah,
very
not
tall.
6'6".
Still very tall.
What I was gonna say is my mom isn't tall either, but all of her siblings and her dad and stuff are pretty tall. So I do have tall in the family.